So the Warriors get a good win. We could talk about it a little later. Trace Jackson-Davis, 9:30. But I am fired up about free agency. You see deals flying off the board, left and right. Kirk Cousins goes to Atlanta. Saquon Barkley goes to Philadelphia. DeAndre Swift goes to Chicago. Aaron Jones now going to Minnesota. 1 year, $7 million deal. But what about the 49ers? What about the Niners? Probably going to say bye-bye to Chase Young. They've already said bye-bye to Khalil Farrell. Javon Kinlaw.
That surprised me.
Kinlaw, who the Niners were working to re-sign, signs a 1 year deal with the New York Jets. May have been more guaranteed money. But he goes to the Big Apple. Gets to play next to Quentin Williams. Mook Dog going to the AFC East.
So let's evaluate that trade now, multiple years later. It was DeForest Buckner for the first-round pick, which would eventually be Javon Kinlaw, but you also got the opportunity because you had to extend Buckner on the Indianapolis Colts side. You also got Jimmy Ward and Eric Armstead. Who won the deal? Because I know exactly who won the deal, in my mind.
You think the Colts won the deal?
No, I think the 49ers clearly won the deal.
I'm surprised you were going to go there. I thought you were going to say
Ward,
Colts.
They got a great year out of a couple of years out of Jimmy Ward.
They got some great years out of Jimmy Ward.
And then I thought Eric Armstead played phenomenally well in certain playoff games. And Javon Kinlaw, for as disappointing as it was, whatever. I just think that the combination of all those things, I think that looking back on it, I know everyone loses their mind. Individually, Buckner's better than maybe all three of those guys. But give me the three of those dudes over the one guy every time.
Does team success matter?
Yes.
Does that factor into the equation?
No, that's a big part of it.
All right, so when it comes to team success, it's no doubt the Niners have had more success than the Colts.
I think that they won that deal.
No doubt.
And that might be a minority opinion.
Well, the deal didn't kill them, right? The deal didn't cripple the 49ers and hamper them in what. Now, it did make them have to go out and sign Javon Hargrave because Javon Kinlaw couldn't stay healthy, and it was disappointing in the least, so they had to go out there and sign another defensive tackle. I'm sure they didn't plan on that. You give the $40 million guaranteed to Hargrave, the grave digger, so you still had to go get another defensive tackle, although the deal didn't hurt you. I'm not going to call it a win for the 49ers. I'll just say, didn't work out really in your favor because Jimmy Ward ended up leaving. Armstead, yes, he gave you great years, but did he have the production of DeForest Buckner? No, he didn't. But he was good against the run. I can't knock Eric Armstead whatsoever.
That's an interesting aspect, coupling in the Hargrave, because you have to. They had to double down on that because of how bad Kinlaw. That's a good point.
Kinlaw was bad, and they had to go out and sign another D-tackle, man, and that's disappointing.
I look at what they out, because it's how you allocate funds, right? How do you allocate draft picks? And having one player in the NFL that's not a quarterback versus having three.
Right.
I'm going to roll with it. And then they squeeze the lemon. Like, Jimmy Ward was good for them for multiple years. 1 year as a safety, 1 year as a slot corner.
Oh, he was really good. Really good. For them. I like Jimmy Ward. I thought Jimmy Ward played well. Now I'm looking at the D-line. They're such a bad spot right now.
I am with you.
All right, Leonard Floyd, let's see what it is. But it had 888-957-9570. Where are the Niner fans at? Are Niner fans still kind of sleepwalking after the Super Bowl? Because I didn't feel a lot of excitement from Niner fans yesterday about the signings.
Leonard Floyd doesn't oh my God, we have Leonard Floyd. It was I'll take it. But whatever. I'm having a change of heart. I don't know if you guys have ever seen.
Oh, yeah, Change of Heart, the show?
Yeah.
It's great.
Bonte,
the game was on there.
You make fun of me a lot for flip-flopping and, revolving and evolving my opinions like a stock. Things are up, things are down. I'm going to come around, and I've thought about it. I was thinking about it long and hard yesterday, and we were talking about wholesale changes for the 49ers versus tinkering changes, just in general. We didn't say it that bluntly, but I think that's what we were alluding to.
Right.
And you were asking about Deebo Samuel, and does he fit the offense, and blah, 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 and what would you look for Brock Purdy? I've had a change of heart.
Uh-oh.
I'm coming around to where you're at.
Where am I at?
Well, I think Sam and FP, when I was out, they were doing a show, and Sam was telling me all about it. Oh, my God, he wouldn't shut up about it yesterday. But he was talking about how, basically, he asked Niner fans, do you want wholesale changes or tinkering? And the majority of fans were like, roll it back, tinker a little, don't make wholesale changes.
Right.
I think I do want wholesale changes. Look, you lost in the Super Bowl in overtime. It's incredible. It's incredible. I think the natural inclination is to run it back. They kind of ran it back last year. Like, essentially ran it back last year, right? I'm thinking about it, and the more and more, I have to play into Brock Purdy's strengths. And I was like, yeah, all the short controlled stuff. Yeah, that's his. You know what? No. He's a timing rhythm guy. I need multiple wide receivers who could separate downfield on the intermediate stuff and hit that West Coast offense timing stuff, that the timing rhythmic stuff. And so the more and more I think about it, and there's going to be some dead caps and stuff, and you're going to have, there's like a financial juggling you're going to have to figure out.
$28 million.
B, I'm very long-winded here, and where I'm going at with this is I think a full reimagination of the offense for the wide receiver position, for the defensive line on defense. I'm all in. I'm all in on wholesale changes.
So I don't know if I'm in on wholesale changes. But where I was getting at with Deebo Samuel yesterday, look, I'm all about keeping premium players.
Of course.
But I did see that cap number at $28 million, and I saw the $24 million next year. And then I thought about George Kittle. And I thought about the Super Bowl long and hard. I can't unsee the Super Bowl, man. 2 catches, 4 yards. Deebo Samuel, 11 targets, 3 catches. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, if Kyle Shanahan is an offensive guru that we all held him to be. We think he's a very good play designer, play caller, whatever it is. Can he scheme open guys, right? We always say he schemes guys open. Hey, don't you always hear that about Shanahan?
Yeah, during the regular season.
Regular season. But he doesn't force feed people.
Yes.
Like, my problem is, like, look, I used to, number one, like, I look at other teams, like Detroit, they're going to Amon-Ra St. Brown. Big Downs are going to Amon-Ra St. Brown or Sam Laporta.
I was going to say, there you go, Laporta.
Dallas, we know they're going to CeeDee Lamb. Maybe too much.
Yeah.
The Chiefs, we knew in the second half, hey, Kelsey's going to get going here.
Well,
and you still couldn't stop. They find a way to get their playmakers the ball. The Niners just like, it's like whoever's running the route, timing, whatever it is. I don't always agree with that philosophy. I want to force feed guys. Like, Ayuk's my clear-cut, best pure wide receiver, great route runner. I need to get him the ball. There's no way he should walk out that Super Bowl field. What did he have, 6 targets?
Yeah.
He should have had 9 to 10, at least, minimum. It's got to be baked in. I need 10 plays to try to get Brandon Ayuk to football.
I am 100% with you.
So when Deebo comes into play, and you think about the rapport Purdy had with Brandon Ayuk, there's something there between those two. There really is. How about, and I'm not saying I don't want to trade Deebo, and I don't want to trade George Kittle. No. But if you want some big changes, you would entertain those ideas, get more draft capital, build this defense, and Shanahan, go find me some offensive players. You have a great scheme. If I know Ayuk's my number one, and I've got Christian McCaffrey at tailback, let me shore up this offensive line and go get some other speedy wide receivers, some playmakers here who can make plays down the football field. I'm not trying to shake things up like that. I'm cool with Deebo coming back and Kittle coming back, but I look at those cap numbers and I'm saying, if you're going to use them the same way you use them in the Super Bowl, then why, I'm not with that.
So I think we're kind of going and tap dancing around the same thing. To me, it's a slight philosophical change. I look at the teams like LaDainian Tomlinson. When you are the lead back team, when we are run by our running back, when you get into the playoffs and that running game's just not there, I feel like your team will stall out.
Yep.
Like look at like Derrick Henry, LaDainian Tomlinson, who I referenced, Saquon Barkley when he was the lead dog for the Giants, and those teams weren't as good. Like I acknowledge that, but I think that they were so reliant on Christian McCaffrey, which I would be too. He's one of the best players I've ever seen at the position.
Yep.
But when you get into those big time playoff matchups, you got to be able to throw the ball. And I feel like the Niners are so hell-bent as an organization because of Shanahan's roots. Run. And everything we do in the passing game is based off the run. And what I would say to Shanahan is, I think you need to beef up the offensive line, and you need to be a little more pass happy in the regular season so that you have the rhythm, the timing, the rapport, and all those things set up. McCaffrey's going to be great no matter what. McCaffrey's going to walk into 1,300 yards. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to walk into it. I want to see them spread it out a little more, but you have to build your personnel to fit that. Well, and if you're going to play into Purdy's strengths, which I think they should, play into Purdy's strengths, beef up the O-line, give them more time to pass protect. And then I look at what college football is giving me. College football isn't giving me a lot of offensive linemen. They're giving me a ton of playmakers.
That's what I'm saying.
A ton of playmakers. So I don't know. Like, the more and more I think about it, I have a change of heart. I don't think I want to just stand pat and make some tinkers. I'm open to kind of philosophically altering how we build this team.
Look at me.
I'm coming around on you, B. You made good points. I sat there, I reflected like a mature radio host and a man, and I'm trying to grow, and I'm saying to myself, they keep running into the same thing.
Right, but you know what?
B, I can't argue with you. I can't.
It's not about trading Debo and Kittle. I don't want to get out there and say that we're saying. But if you want to build, and John Lynch mentioned at the Combine, it's about building around Brock Purdy. So what's the best way to build around Brock Purdy? What does Brock Purdy need? 888-957-9570. Now, I'm not going to ask Baldy about trading Debo because, Debo is a tone setter, and he's better on his team. But I did think about this.
What's that?
When it came to Debo, after our conversation, how would other teams use Debo Samuel? Would Debo Samuel be, we always talked about, what would Draymond Green be like on another team?
Well, that's a great question.
What would Debo Samuel be like on another team?
So pick a team for me then. Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I don't know what it would look like. It would look a lot different than how the Niners use them.
Kansas City. I think Kansas City,
they would use him in that Mecole Hardman role, but even better in the Jerick McKinnon role.
Yeah,
I actually think he'd be perfect. But Andy Reid is so brilliant, I think he knows how to utilize him.
What about the Raiders or the Broncos? See, I don't know. Everybody would know how to use Debo
that's a good
Samuel.
point.
So I just don't. But even George Kittle, it's not just Debo. It's George Kittle. I got my star tight end. I don't pay him. What's Debo's? I'll pull up George Kittle's base salary in a second here. But I don't pay him to block on third downs. I pay him to go out there and run routes and be a dynamic tight end.
Well, you're giving him, I think it was $14 million was the AAV. I could be wrong, but I think $13 or $14 million was the annual average on his contract. You just gave Colton McKivitz $7 million to play right tackle. In the Super Bowl, you gave Kittle basically a $14 million contract for the year, and he played right tackle too.
He played right tackle.
Because he had, 2 targets?
Was it 4 targets, 3 targets, 2? Wasn't enough.
One of them was just an airmail throw where he was getting pressured, and Brock Purdy had no time. I just looked at
the cap hit for Kittle next season.
What is it?
$21
that big.
million. Wow. 21.9.
Crazy how these numbers.
Now his base salary is $13.4 million.
Okay.
3.6 is signing. Remember, he restructured his contract as well. But the cap hit is $21.9 million. $21.9 million. By the way, this segment was sponsored by Golden State. Golden State Lumber, serving the Bay Area for 3 generations. When you succeed, we succeed. Visit GoldenStateLumber.com. You are listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ, FM, and AC1 San Francisco. Don't forget, you can also watch us every single day on our YouTube and Twitch streams. Just log on and search 95.7 The Game. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel while you are there. Brought to you by First NorCal Credit Union. Upgrade your savings dividend. Open a First NorCal First Class money market today. And shout out to the Comcast Business Text line as well.
If you watch the Super Bowl back, they went wide, like 5 wide, a lot.
I couldn't believe it.
But I don't think
no burners.
Would you agree with me? Their personnel doesn't fit 5 wide.
No, it doesn't. You don't have a lot of burners.
No. So if you're going to, let's say, hypothetically, you move off Juice. I don't know if they're going to. I don't even know if that's the right decision. But if you move off Juice, to me, that's a big philosophical shift.
Yep.
Because now, instead of those bunch formations, and you had a lot of Debo and CMC in the regular season in the backfield simultaneously, I need another guy who I could split out in the X or the Y position and get open.
Yeah.
Get separation. Who's their best slot guy right now?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Jawad Jennings. You don't have quicks. I need quick, short area quickness.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I need guys who can get in and out their breaks. Running those dig routes or what. You
brought up St. Brown. St. Brown, I believe, had more yards from slot than anyone in the game.
Anybody else.
Yeah.
And he's got speed. He's got speed.
Yes.
George Kittle, 2 catches, 4 yards, 3 targets in the Super Bowl.
I mean, that's
for that type of money. I'm paying.
But this goes back to philosophical shift, and now I'm going back to Shanahan, and I'm saying he has this system, and he believes in the system, and I get it. I've seen evolution of his own beliefs. We saw it with the running back.
Right.
He doesn't need a premier running back. He'll take any running back. I feel like he's philosophically shifted from that. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Can he philosophically shift to being, like, to me, the personnel needs to fit what Purdy does well. And so what Purdy does well, rhythmic, intermediate, downfield passing.
Right.
And I don't think they have the wide receivers to do that. They need to add that element. And they need to add a better right guard and right tackle.
Yeah, I would, Look, Michael Silver in the Chronicle wrote that the Niners will be aggressive.
I think they are.
Are they going to be what's aggressive? Is signing Little Floyd aggressive?
That's not it. That doesn't do enough
Cutting
for
Eric
me.
Armstead, is that aggressive? What signals aggressiveness if you're the 49ers, 49er fans? 888-957-9570.
Moving up
What's
in the draft?
aggressive to you? Is it trading up in the draft? Is it trading players, playmakers on offense? I don't know. I don't know what it looks like here.